Back polls in Fulton County are finally closed.
The County Board of Elections agreed to extend polling hours until 9 tonight due to multiple voting issues. We saw long lines all across the county. In some other places, malfunctioning machines made the voting process longer than anticipated.
An investigation is underway tonight. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger wants to know why multiple polling locations were not prepared for today's election.
It's just totally disorganized mess. They had 3 additional months to get ready for this.
You know, there were a lot of people who claimed voter suppression when Raffensperger earlier gave this comment, but we've just heard from the Fulton County Election Board, Richard Barron, putting the fault square on the shoulders of Fulton County. Raffensperger added that the County Board of Election needs in his words, a top-down cleaning house. CBS 46's Carolyn Ryan. She continues our team coverage. And Carolyn, I'm not sure if you heard Richard Barron's press conference where he's answering questions, but he admitted fault. Part of this falls on the shoulders of Fulton County.
I sure did, Sean, and that changes things quite a bit, doesn't it? They're actually in a lot of agreement here tonight. I think that's the takeaway. Let me set the scene real quick and I'll give you the background. So we're at a polling precinct here in Fulton County. 31 minutes ago, they closed one side of the gates there, no longer allowing anyone else in to vote. On this side, we see who's left inside here, still left to vote. I would say probably anywhere between, probably about 70 people in line here. There are 2 investigations underway, Sean. One that you mentioned, the Secretary of State's office investigating DeKalb and Fulton counties for voting mishaps today. And the other is Georgia House of Representatives, and Speaker David Ralston. He announced they too would be looking into this to see, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again, especially as we steamroll ahead into the general election in less than 5 months from now, because we did see extraordinary long lines today. We saw issues with the malfunctioning of some of the systems here set up in place, and that's really all voters care about at the end of the day. They don't care about the political back and forth or the political expediency of one side blaming another side. What we heard today from both the state and Fulton County election officials was that there were several factors at play for why we saw 4 to 5 hour wait times today across Metro Atlanta and why many people ultimately left their precinct without casting a vote. We have new voting machines, and there was a lack of proper training of poll workers, bottom line. And one thing the Secretary of State's office wants to reassure everyone at home is that the new voting machines themselves did not malfunction. I spoke with Gabriel Sterling, who implemented the new voting system for the state. Listen to what he had to say about that.
Absolutely 100%, because what's happened is when we get those reports, we send technicians to those precincts and they get there and realize, oh, you plugged this in backwards, or oh, you didn't put this code in right. One of the biggest things we saw this morning was poll workers putting the activation cards, the little green cards that you use to activate the voting machines, backwards. They were putting them backwards like, oh, it's not encoding because the chip is in the wrong way. It took a while to figure that out, and then they started to be able to function. So we're seeing those lines start to get pared down over time.
So moving forward, these machines will be used in November, and what needs to happen between now and then is more training of these county poll workers. So it appears again there's some agreement here between the state and at least Fulton County as to how we can correct these issues that we ran into today moving forward before the general election. And again, you heard both of them saying training, training, training. It needs to come down to training. Obviously, they couldn't do as much as they wanted to due to COVID-19 restrictions and other issues that we encountered. And there's going to be probably a lot of back and forth in the days and weeks to come. But these machines, according to the Secretary of State's office, are fine. They worked fine. They worked fine in early voting, and they'll be using them again. And hopefully they'll take care and it'll alleviate the trouble we saw today once they get these poll workers properly trained. Live in Fulton County, Carolyn Ryan, CBS 46 News.